what's up, YouTube? It's been a couple weeks maybe or so. I don't remember when I made the last video, because right now I'm on home time, or at least I'm starting my home time. I'm heading home, which is, for me about an 8.5-hour drive from Fort Worth to Overland Park, Kansas. And right now I'm just passing through Oklahoma City, so that means I'm around halfway. Going through rush hour traffic here. What pet peeve I have about American driving is that, people, I don't know what the problem is, because, driving is really not all that hard and that difficult if you just pay attention, you don't be a dick, and you be courteous to people, okay? Because the biggest problem that people have driving, it seems, is they don't understand how to merge properly. They don't even know what a yield sign even means. They're absolutely clueless, apparently, as to how roadways actually function and how you can have real efficient and expedient traffic movement just by doing basic, simple things, okay? So, you would think people understand that yield means to give up the right-of-way, and it means that you make sure that before you pull in that you have a space to get in, and that means either speeding up or slowing down, and you can do either. It just, it doesn't matter, but people just can't seem to grab that basic concept. Most people just ignore the yield sign altogether, as if it doesn't exist, and they just think that, hey, it's my right to just move in here, and it's up to you to slow down, which is wrong, okay? So, our company seems to have a little bit of a different policy when it comes to that. They really, even though we have the right-of-way, a lot of times they want us to give the person who's merging into the right-of-way. I guess it's a pet peeve for Dan Millis if people are being run up the shoulder. Well, that's their own fault if they did, because generally we're talking about four-wheelers that don't understand this concept about merging, okay? Which is, if you're getting onto a freeway and the speed limit on the freeway is 70 miles an hour, you should accelerate to at least 70 miles an hour while you're on the on-ramp. Okay, you shouldn't be going up the on-ramp at 35 miles an hour expecting to merge into the freeway. This is what causes all the backups on the freeway. This is why you always see the right lane all clogged up and brake lights on everywhere, because people don't get that. Also, they won't give space to let people over who are looking to exit. People just have no courtesy anymore when it comes to driving. Everyone is very self-centered, very self-important. I have to be there first. I have to get where I'm going. I'm more important than you are. It's all bullshit. And, people should just learn to be more courteous when they drive. And, traffic would flow a lot better. Everyone would get where they want to go easier. And we'd have a lot less collisions. And, which also tend to, of course, back things up really, really bad. So anyway, enough about that. That's, you're going to see that every day if you're out here driving. You're going to, it's going to drive you nuts. But you just have to learn to deal with it. And know that, in a big truck, most people, 90% of people are not going to give you any courtesy whatsoever. You can have your signal on that you want to merge or get over a lane or whatever, and people just, they don't care. They'll drive right by you, and they won't even acknowledge you. They won't even look. They know what they're doing is wrong, right? They know they're being dicks about it, but they don't care. They're just like, too bad, not my problem. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a while since I've been home. We talked about it. For those of you that might be new to the channel, just in case you haven't gone back or seen the videos from before, the actual last home time that I had was January 5th. I think it was the last day that I basically took about 10 days off over Christmas and through January, and then I've been home once since then, where I basically blew through town under load. For like a day and a half or 2.5 days, whatever it was, in the middle of February. So this is the first actual home time since end of December, first week of January, and it's the 1st of April. And no, it's not an April Fool's joke. It's actually true. That's how long I've been out. But the one thing I have to say, it's super nice being in a car again, mainly for not having any lane restrictions. Being able to have really rapid acceleration and deceleration in places where it really helps to, get through traffic. Really hard to do that with a truck that's 70 feet long under load that, doesn't accelerate very well, doesn't brake very well. It's really challenging to do that, and especially when you're speed governed, like our company speed governs, like most do. If you're in your first year driving with Millis, your speed is going to be governed to 66 miles per hour under cruise, and then of course you get a nice. I think it's an excellent feature. It's very useful, and that's the double acceleration pump, basically. So you can hit the accelerator twice while under cruise, and you can accelerate to 70 miles an hour for about 3 mile stretch. And there's a limit per day to how many miles you can do this for, but if you're not being stupid about it, it's pretty hard to use it all up unless you're just trying to use it constantly, which is dumb. You should save it mostly for the times when you really need it, because it comes in super handy as far as getting through traffic, because you're going to run into other carriers that are speed governed slower than you are. A lot of them are at 62 or 63, like Swift I think is, and I think Prime, which is that. Now that's really weird to me, because Prime, as far as I know, all Prime trucks are lease purchase trucks. Now, there is no way you would get me to make the payment. I think I might have talked about this before in one of the videos, but it is unbelievable. There's no way you would get me to pay for a truck with my money, and then you speed govern the truck and tell me how fast I can run with it. There's no way. I would go find me another company immediately if that was the kind of crap they try to pull with me. That's just garbage. I'm sorry, but it's garbage. You guys you want to pick it, you're carrying the note on the truck, fine. You can speed govern it. If I don't like it, I can go find another company to drive for. But with Millis, I understand why they do it. I don't think it's a very good idea, though. In the end, I really think it's not a good idea to do that. I understand what they're thinking, but here's what I hate about blanket policies. Okay, blanket policies are like having a class curriculum in school that is geared towards teaching at the middle of the road. Like, so for students who learn slower than that, it's too hard for them. Okay, to deal with that, and they struggle through school. And if you went through school, you like most of us, you saw kids like that maybe they had a learning disability, maybe they were dyslexic, or there was some other issue with them learning. Some kids don't test well, they have text anxiety, and so that's a problem for them. I mean, everyone is different, everyone has issues. So when you put a blanket policy in effect, you handicap people that are better than that policy, and you haven't done enough for people that are worse, and that's just the end result of it. Okay, and in the end, it really only serves to punish the company, because you're making your drivers less productive if you're speed governing them. I mean, and this is it, because many of the places that we can run at least 70, and in some places like Texas you can go 75. Now, when you're speed governed at 66, you are a traffic impediment at that speed. I'm sorry, but you're almost 10 miles an hour under the posted speed limit. Okay, and who runs the posted speed limit? No one does. Okay, there's a clue. Everyone runs about 5 over on average, pretty much. Everyone, if it's 75, they're all doing 80 or faster, and you're just in the way. Okay, and that's stupid. Okay, and it's unproductive, because guess what? We are time limited on how many miles, that we can drive per day. We can only drive 11 hours. So if you can only drive 11 hours, the faster you can go, the more miles you can get. Now, the more miles, of course, adds up to a bigger paycheck for the driver, but it also adds up to more revenue for the company. Okay, because we can deliver more loads in the same amount of time, because we can get more miles in. Okay, so to me, it's just a bad idea. Now, if you have a driver who has a problem with not managing his speed properly, well, then I understand that you might punish them by governing their speed in order to try to get the message across that, hey, dude, you need to start learning how to drive better and become a better driver. All right? But the truck really helps you in this. At least the trucks that we have, the systems on board that truck really nanny you into being a better driver, whether you want to or not. I mean, it just sort of forces you to do that. And I don't mind it. I mean, it can be a little excessive at times, especially when it's, not functioning 100% properly. But, no system is perfect. It works reasonably well. I'm gonna say almost really good, you know. And it's not to the point where it's absolutely freaking annoying. So there's that. Well, see, I rambled on more about the whole driving. Well, you know, because if you're gonna, and I hate to go on and on about it, but let's face it, what we're talking about here is a driving job, right? So, I mean, this is what you're doing, you know, 95% of the time you're driving. The other 5% is you're sitting, you know, you're being unloaded, or you're backing up. I mean, that's really the end result. You know, I talk about, and I have talked about many times, about how backing is the thing I hate the most. And what's funny is, you know, you only do it, you know, it's a small part of the job in the end, in the overall time aspect of things. You know, and then of course, they're sitting, and, you know, when you're doing live unloading or loading, which is horrible in the end for the most part. Oftentimes, if our company can do it and control it, they should do as little live unloading and loading as possible, because it also makes them less efficient. You make less, the company makes less money, the driver makes less money, and it's, in many cases, it's really dumb. And there are some customers we shouldn't even service at all. If I was the one calling the shots, customers try to play games that they play, I would leave them. You know what? There are other customers that we can go to that we can make better money with. The customer's not always right 100% of the time. I mean, you know, yes, you want to be all about customer service and all that, but there's some really annoying stuff that goes on. Tight delivery windows, you know, when you're dealing with traffic and road conditions and clock management that you really can't control. There's really nothing you can do about it. And then guys want to play all nonsense. So I had this experience where I got a load that they sent me to Washington, D.C. Now, I have to admit, this was one of my worst days so far in trucking. And I'm going to be pretty fortunate to say that this was one of my worst days, to be honest with you, because in the end it really wasn't that bad, and it was pretty much mostly self-inflicted, to be honest with you. So this is the biggest mistake that I've made so far, and, you know, it was an honest mistake, but it happened, and then I sort of compounded it myself. And, you know, so here's the issue. Here's what happened. Okay, so I know I'm delivering in Washington, D.C., and I'm going to be delivering to, it's a distributor, beer distributor, alcohol distributor place, and it's, I mean, you could almost throw a rock and hit the White House from where it was. So I knew I was going to have to be dealing with Beltway traffic. My scheduled delivery time was 8:30 in the morning. Could there be a worse time to be going to Washington, D.C.? I mean, that's guaranteeing that you're going to be driving in rush hour traffic. So I had stopped for my 30-minute break at a rest stop, and I think I was, well, I thought I was 4.5 hours, about 4.5 hours away from the final when I stopped, according to my GPS. Now, this is where the initial mistake was made, and hopefully you'll understand how this happened. But I thought it was 4.5 hours away, but in reality, I was 4.5 hours away from my fuel stop, which I forgot I had added into my route as a via on my GPS. You know, originally I had just my final, and I knew that, you know, my time remaining to the final, and later on I added my fuel stop, because my fuel stop was actually only about an hour and a half away from the final. So I was trying to, at my 30-minute stop, I was trying to make a decision about what to do from there, because I had enough time that I could make it all the way to the final. And I was looking through Google Maps at the satellite view, and I was thinking that I was going to have a place that I could park there. They weren't going to be open all night. They don't open all night. They wouldn't open until 8 in the morning. But I was thinking there was a place where I could park the truck and wait in the morning if I timed it right. And what I was thinking I would do is I would drive in and get in through DC at about 2-3 in the morning or so. That way I could come through when there'd be almost no traffic whatsoever. It'd be easy to maneuver the truck, get to my exits, whatever I had to do, and then just find a place, shut down, and then, you know, I could, you know, get my almost 10 hours in just sitting. But I could actually sit right outside the place, is what I was thinking by looking at Google Maps, and I could just creep into the door and not worry about tripping my drive clock and get my 10 hours in that I had to, but yet be at the customer. So all that sounded like a great plan. It was a brilliant plan. It was all perfect, right? And so I finished up my break, and I'm in a restaurant now. It's 5, 6 in the evening at this time, right? And the one problem you find when you're trucking, the further east you go, the harder it is to find parking after 5 o'clock to shut down for the night, or even to take a 30-minute break or whatever. It just gets really hard to find parking. So anyway, I started rolling, and I barely got out of the exit of the rest stop when it hit me all of a sudden that, hey, wait a minute, you need to look at your GPS, because you dummy, your time remaining is not to the final, it's to the gas. It just dawned on me that I had added the fuel stop. And so I reached up, hit my GPS, see what my time remaining was, and I looked, and I quickly ran the calculation. I thought, oh, I don't think I can make this now. Now this is going to be a problem. I can make it to the fuel stop, but I don't think I can make it to the final. I would have to make up some time in order to get to the final without running out of clock. So I might have to shut down at this fuel stop, and it's going to be, like 1 in the morning. Wow, good luck finding a place to park at that time of night. So anyway, I had no choice then. Once I started moving, and the thing was, I had been sitting more than 30 minutes at my at the rest stop, because what I was trying to do was time things right. So I sat for almost 3.5 or 4 hours. If I would have just stayed there, I would have been better off, because I could have completed my 10, and then I would have had a full clock in the morning. Yes, it would have meant that I would have been dealing with traffic and all this, but I would have still been able to get to the final, right around, depending on traffic, the 8:30 window that I was supposed to, be there for delivery. So anyway, I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it. I was going to try to push it and see if I could make up the time and get there. I kept driving. I got to the fuel stop, and then I realized that now there's no way I can make it. I have to stay here, which means I have to stay 10 hours, which means, guess what? You're not going to make it on time. You can't make the delivery window. You're going to be late. And you're not going to be just like, a half an hour late or an hour late, but you're going to be like 4 hours late. That's not going to be good. Okay, so I'm thinking, okay, I need to send a message to, customer service, and let them know to the customer that, hey, I can't make the delivery window. I'm going to be late. Well, that was my intention. But the problem I ran into was when I fueled up and got done fueling, well, of course, there was no place to park. So now I'm like, what am I going to do? I got to find places. So I'm looking around the lot, and there's one guy parked in a place where it's really not a parking spot, but he's been there like for a while now. And I find that maybe I can pull in just behind him, and it's sort of on the outbound area for leaving the truck stop. And so I just pull in there and lay down. I go back and lay down. I managed to lay down for 3 or 4 hours before somebody came knocking on the door. You can't park here. Okay, well, there was nowhere for me to go. I'm out of time. I can't leave. He says, well, you can't park here. You'll have to move. So I creep around the lot to try to find another place, and I sit there for a couple hours. Knock, knock, knock. You can't park here either. Okay, sorry. I'm moving now. By this time, he's like, there's spots open up now. He said, I know it's crazy here at night, but I need you to move. They want me to make the guys that are in places they're not supposed to be moved. So there's now open spots. So I go, and now the result of this is I'm just fatigued, and I'm thinking I'm in a rush, because when as soon as my clock opens up, I want to hit the road. I want to get going, because I know I'm already late, and I want to try to get there. So unfortunately, due to my own fatigue and mental error and stupidity, really in the end, I forgot to send a message in the morning that hey, we need you to call customer service, or have the customer service call the customer and let them know that I'm not going to make the appointment window on time. And I just forgot to do that, so I was just barreling my way, just trying to get there. And when I got to the final, I get inside, and there was literally nothing going on. There was no other trucks there. They had like 10, 12 docks. They're completely open. It's spotless warehouse, very well managed warehouse. The guy who's in charge is standing at a computer, and he calls me over, and I saw his forklift driver just running around doing just, like busy work, emptying dumpster, whatever. And he's immediately, the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, "Why so late?" Yeah, okay, well, yeah, I made a mistake, and blah blah blah. And he wasn't having it. He was being a jerk. He was being very, and you run into this sometimes. These guys are their own little, they think they're their own little kings of their little castles, or little, fiefdom that they got to defend or whatever, and they get a little complex, give them a little authority, and they get, suddenly, they want to exercise that authority to show how tough they are or whatever. And he's all like, "Well, you're lucky I'm going to take, that I'm not refusing the load and all this." And I just look at him, and I'm just, thinking to myself, dude, and I didn't say it, but I wanted to say this, that, hey, pal, I got a load of beer on the truck. Do you want it or not? Because, I really don't care, because I'm going to get paid either way. If you make me leave and come back tomorrow, whatever. If you think you're going to ruin my day by displaying your attitude with me when it's really unnecessary, because does it really matter? I mean, yes, I know we had a window that I didn't make, and yes, I know it was we should have called, or I should have made sure the message got through so that you could have been notified that I wasn't coming. But in the end, you're doing nothing. You're standing around. You're just, if I'm in charge of the place, I'm not caring, because I'm understanding. You know what? There's traffic, there's accidents, there's a clock. He doesn't know any of the challenges that the drivers have. It's obvious, or he wouldn't even be throwing the attitude that he would. He'd just be saying, "Well, I'm glad you guys made it, and let's get you in the door and get you unloaded." But he wanted to play games. He wanted to show how tough he was and how in charge he was. And so he said, "Well, my policy is if you miss the window by 2 hour window, then I get you unloaded when I get you unloaded." And I'm like, "Dude, I totally understand, and whatever. However long it takes you, that's how long it takes you. I mean, because it's on me. I'm the one who made the mistake. So whatever." So I get the truck back into the door, and I'm sitting there. Probably 20 minutes goes by. They didn't touch me. That was him trying to show me. Right? But then all of a sudden they started unloading me, and I'm unloaded in like 20 minutes. Now the truth is this: they unloaded me faster than they probably would have if I'd have gotten there in the window that I was supposed to be. Now, I don't know that for sure, but that's just usually how it goes. So they take like an hour, 2 hours to get you unloaded, and which never makes much sense to me, because you only have about 20, 23 pallets, 26 pallets on the truck. It shouldn't take that long to unload that many pallets with a forklift. I don't know. I mean, it's never taken me that long to unload a truck, so I really don't understand it. But hey, whatever. It is what it is. But it was done, and I apologized to him on the way out the door that hey, I'm sorry we were late, and but he wasn't having it. He wanted to be a dick. So whatever. Like, you're not going to ruin my day, dude. I really don't care. I mean, in all of the things that can happen in trucking, being late is probably I mean, it's bad, but it's not the worst thing at all. There's so many worse things that could happen. You could blow a tire on the road and be stuck on the side of the road for 6 or 8 hours. You could be at a grocery warehouse where they take 6 or 8 hours to get you unloaded. You could be broke down on the side of the road. You could get wiped out, wrecked. You could blow a steer tire and end up in the median or in the ditch, and end up killing a family of people. I mean, there's so many worse things that could happen in trucking that is not going to make me sweat at all, and it's not going to ruin my day. So anyway, that's really one of the 2 worst days I think I had in trucking so far. The other one was just an issue with the GPS not routing me correctly and wanting to take me down roads that I didn't have any business being on. But that's a story that I'm not really willing to tell on YouTube, to be honest with you, because you know what, you have to figure out how to deal with something like that, and you can tell by what I'm alluding to that it wasn't exactly all right, but I mean, I got through it and it's done. And in the end, with this load, when I messaged dispatch, I was sitting there while they were unloading me, and I got a message from my dispatcher saying, "Are they going to unload you?" And I was like, "Yeah, they're already unloading me." And then I straight up just told them exactly that, hey, that was, it was on me. This is the mistake that I made. This is what happened. And then he responded to me with, well, did you let anybody know? And I was like, yeah, I messed that up too. I had to move the truck around a whole bunch last night, and then I meant to send a message in the morning, and I just forgot. And so I will, it was on me. It was my mistakes. I'll do better. And the reply I got was perfect. It was no big deal, because you got the load there safely, and that's what matters the most. And I said, well, thank you, and I will work to do better, and I will. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. And that's what I told him. And it won't happen again. Those two mistakes will not happen again. I will make sure that I do better on the next time. But that's pretty good for just a little over 6 months in this field, and as a brand new rookie driver, that's actually really, really good to have that be the only mistake that one of the only 2 bad days in trucking. And there are far worse things that can happen to you, and I've already heard that for other guys they have. So I'm feeling pretty good that so far, I've been really fortunate. I've only had a couple close calls. I've had just no tickets, haven't hit anything yet, done any damage to anybody or anything. There is one other thing though. This last load, I almost forgot this load that I just delivered before coming to home time. That was a load of kegs that I brought from Miller. Where was it? I don't even remember. See, my brain is just going to stop working. That's the other thing, is that I used to look at other guys' trucking videos, and they would talk about where they were and where they came from, and they would couldn't remember, and I was like, how do you not remember where you went? Well, now I know, because it all kind of just blends into one, big long trip, and it's just so refreshing to get out of the truck right now. It just feels so good to be in my car, except it's always weird. When I first get in the car, it feels like I'm driving a freaking go-kart, because my car sits right on the ground. It's a BMW that sits right on the highway, and it just feels like a damn go-kart compared to the truck. Because in the truck you're sitting up so high, and you got such a commanding view of everything that it's really weird when you first get in the car. And it's so zippy and crazy like. So anyway, where was it? Oh yeah, so I picked up this load of beer. I don't even remember where it was. Who cares? It was 11 hours away. Oh, I know. Was it Wisconsin? I don't know. Shit, I don't remember. But anyway, I had gone through some construction area where they were doing some work, and they didn't have it marked out right. Their cones were pushing into the street, and there was a part where there was a curb sticking out where you had to move over really quickly to the left. And I tried really hard to get far enough out before cutting over to the left, but I came up about 6 inches short and caught the curb with the driver's side tandem on the trailer. And so I went over it. I went over it slow enough that it wasn't like it was going to do any damage or anything like that. But I was like, wow, that was quite a bit. And from then on, it seemed like the truck was leaning, And once I got to the final and opened it up to back in the door, I could see why. The load had shifted all the way to the passenger side, and it looked like a snake. All the pallets from the front to the back, it was a big bow where most of the middle pallets had moved over, because there were no bladders, there were no bulkheads, there were nothing keeping the load secured except for the 2 straps I had on the end, and, pallets, and that's not going to be enough to hold that load tight against the bulkhead, 53 feet, and not have it, swing over like it did. It was, when I looked at that, I was thinking to myself, well, I'm probably pretty lucky, because the trailer didn't want to tilt when I was in a left turn, with any kind of speed whatsoever. Because when I was backing the trailer into the door, man, I at one point when I was pretty much jackknifed all the way in to get into the hole, my left tire the tandem started to come off the ground. I had to pull forward a little bit more and cut back over to the right some more to get the tractor a little bit more straight and under the trailer more, to keep from jackknifing in so much, because it wanted to lean. And that's what as soon as I saw those tires coming up off the ground when I was getting it in the hole, I knew the load had shifted. That's what told me the load had shifted. And you know, I just thought to myself, okay, I'm lucky to have gotten here, you know. So once again, so I guess that would be maybe close to my worst day in trucking, I guess. But to me, it wasn't, because that was the load to get to go home. So look at this. I rambled on for 30 minutes. I always talk about wanting to make my videos shorter, but there's always so much to talk about when you go as long as I do in between making videos, because like I said, when you're working and driving your face off, man, you don't feel like making a video when you shut down for the day. You just want to chill, unwind, and relax for a moment, because, you know, sometimes it's a bit intense, you know, driving the truck. Most times it's pretty relaxed and pretty easy, to be honest with you. But when you're going through some heavy traffic, when you're dealing with you know, some weaving tight roads and, you know, different things like that, you know, speeds up and down, you know, mountain hills and things, it can be pretty intense, man. So I really am looking forward to this home time. I really needed it. It's been a little long for me to stay out, but, you know, chances are when I come back out again, it's going to be the same. I have no idea when the next home time would be. I wouldn't even have been coming home now if there wasn't things that the wife wanted me to do at the house that need to get done. So that's pretty much what's bringing me home. And the nice thing is I'll be able to get home and I'll be able to pull my Harley out. The weather's good enough, I can get that out and take her for a ride. And I'm really looking forward to getting out on the old girl and taking her around. And because I miss my bike, man, I really miss not being able to ride my bike. So anyway, I think that's about it. Hang in there, because when I get back, should be showing you what we're going to be giving away for the 100 subscriber push, and there are going to be more clues in this video that you're going to want to pick up on for the sort of scavenger hunt that I'm putting together, and we'll get that going, you know, because we still have time, because we're only at like 50, 51, 52 subscribers, so we still need some more. We need about 40, 48 more. I know it's hard to build up when you don't make videos every, you know, week, to keep people engaged and to keep them, you know, interested, but hopefully we'll get there. It'll just take some time, and then we'll give away some cool stuff, and then we'll see, you know, we'll see how that goes. And, you know, I'd like to continue doing that, because you know, I think it's always fun and engaging. I like interacting with people. You know, if you got questions, you need information, you want information, if there's anything you want to ask, don't hesitate, just shoot it to me. I will get it and answer it as soon as I possibly can, and as soon as I see it. So I think that's gonna be it for this time, guys. I'm gonna get home and give the wife a hug, let her see that, you know, what I look like, so she, you know, she's probably forgotten because it's been so long, and you know, we'll have some fun, and then I'll get back to you when I get back out, and we'll have another trucking video. All right, you guys be good to each other, don't be a dick, and you know,